I am going to expose Dan Koh's automated sales funnel that makes him $4.2 million every single year whilst working less than 4 hours per day. First, I'll be talking about the key difference between you and these 4 millionaires. I'll reveal the one mechanism that Dan uses to generate 90% of his income. I'll also expose the dark tactics that he uses to shift the beliefs of his potential customers and establish himself as a cult leader. And by the end of this video, you will understand all of his systems so that you can leverage them into your own business to replicate his success. Whether you're scaling to 10K per month, 30K per month, or more with your coaching, info, or agency business. There's a common trait among these 4 people. They can promote anything they want and make millions without anywhere near as much effort compared to you or me. So if you're not making the money that you desire in your business, listen up. Why do they find it so easy to make millions of dollars whilst you might be struggling to hit 30K per month? The core difference is indoctrination. Your approach looks like doing cold outreach, running paid ads, booking sales calls, hard selling, and starting relationships on the back foot. But their approach involves indoctrination, education, sending a single message that prints thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month. Let me expand. The people playing checkers flex a fully booked calendar with back-to-back sales calls, but the people playing chess indoctrinate prospects on autopilot, leading to sales without any sales calls whatsoever. That is precisely why Dan Koh is making $4.2 million on autopilot. So I'm going to share with you how you can generate results just like him with this stupidly simple educator funnel. It's purpose built to indoctrinate fresh prospects, educate and nurture them in autopilot, and persuade them to take action without any hard selling whatsoever. This kind of funnel is built on the core principle of educating the prospect, because they must understand their pain, their dream, and why they need your solution to bridge that gap. So these are the main offers that Dan Koh is running. I won't dig into the complexity of them. So he has the Art of Focus book, his tech company Cortex, and then courses that he sells through the danco.com brand. Dan Koh's omnipresent social strategy revolves around the Venus flytrap model. This is when all attention that he garners on every single social media platform is directed towards a single point. This is regardless of the type of content that he's making, whether that be short form written on X, reels and illustrations on Instagram, his presence on Google, or his long form content on YouTube. All of these act as capture mechanisms to bring people into the Venus flytrap from which they will not leave. Now, these people do not leave the Venus flytrap model because they have an idea incepted into their head. This inception is a result of the introduction of a unique mechanism. And as you can see the quote there from Richie Norton, how you bring people into your home is just as important as when they walk through the door. So you have to frame things well. Framing something that already exists as unique is absolutely key to incepting an idea and indoctrinating people. Dan Koh incepts people using this idea of the one-person business model. This is how he positions himself in the market. He claims that creating a one-person business model is different from being an agency. It's different from freelancing. It is ultimately his creation that he sells people on. Now, the second reason that people cannot escape the Venus flytrap is because Dan establishes himself as a cult leader. This is done through the combination of 6 traits: positioning himself as omniscient, someone who has incredible amounts of knowledge and deeply understands the world more than the reader; a savior, someone who is peeling back the layers of the matrix in order to help others; superior, someone who has done it before and has the proof that they know what they're talking about; isolationist, someone who rejects modernity, rejects modern society in favor of a completely different existence; alternative, someone who suggests alternative perspectives and alternative realities that people can exist in, whereby they don't have to live by the rules of society. They don't have to get a 9 to 5. They don't have to submit to a boss or an employer. And finally, someone who's convicted. This is something that shows most frequently through Dan's YouTube videos, which are his most important sales assets. Someone who genuinely believes in their purpose to convert people from being drones into one-person business owners. And the single mechanism that Dan uses to generate 90% of his income is his newsletter. This is much more than a newsletter. This is effectively an education mechanism. The point behind the newsletter being to hold sustained attention and to deliver value as deeply as possible, allowing that initial incepted idea to be drilled into the prospect's brain. And of course, it's critical that Dan speaks directly to them. Now, these are the 3 primary psychological principles that Dan Koh uses in order to not only indoctrinate people, but to educate people and nurture them to the point of being a customer. First, Dan puppets your attention. He injects pain into your current situation, exacerbates the pain that you already feel to make it seem as if being in that position, for example the 9 to 5, is significantly more painful than it actually is in reality. Dan encourages the creation of a vision and an anti-vision. And the core principles behind this in terms of selling to people is that he encourages you to create your own pain. He encourages you to create your own alternate reality to make your existing reality feel more painful. And once you have been converted into this vulnerable state, you are now susceptible to paradigm shifting. This is when your beliefs are changed. He indoctrinates you or educates you with new ideas to shift your reality. The most important being create or be created. The idea here is to break your initial social conditioning, break your pre-existing notions about how the world works, and effectively expose the matrix. As he tears down your reality, he offers utopian alternatives and ultimately becomes the oracle for you. He becomes the information bringer, the cult leader, the person that you look up to and idolize. And in certain people, when this resonates truly, this will develop an educational compulsion. The information and the value that Dan Koh provides you triggers a dopaminergic response system within your brain. You now are a person that enjoys consumption of educational entrepreneurship content. It gives you a dopamine release every single time that you consume content like this that teaches you something new that will help you go further in your business. And this is exactly the kind of hamster wheel that Dan Koh wants to create so that all of his prospects are addicted to reading his newsletter, because it gives them that dopaminergic response and convinces them that they're going towards their goals. Another important point on this is that once you become compelled to educate yourself about business, you continue to reject any conflicting beliefs as you spiral down the rabbit hole of entrepreneurship. You continue to listen to other people similar to Dan Koh. You continue to reject the typical or traditional lifestyle, and you continue to reject the previous path that you were set out on. At this point, you are absolutely convinced that entrepreneurship is for you. And because Dan continues to send out newsletters as this process happens, you are subjected to the mere exposure effect. The more that you consume this content and content similar to it, the more you become a qualified prospect. The more similar you become to Dan, and therefore the more likely you are to buy from him, because you become him in the past. You become the past version of Dan Koh, which is his exact client avatar. Now, once you're at the point of no return, you begin to justify with logic exactly why you need to give him money. You think, and the way that he exacerbates this is by illustrating to you the consequences of inaction, cognitive dissonance, the difference between your identity and your reality. Ultimately, you will justify spending money on entrepreneurship and on Dan Koh's products because it confirms your new identity that he created. He molded the identity of an entrepreneur and a one-person business into your brain. Then you are compelled to purchase the product that aligns with that new identity so that you can validate your own beliefs. In other words, you now possess the identity of someone who buys information in order to further their goals. Therefore, if you do not pay him money, you are unable to confirm your own identity, and that creates the cognitive dissonance. And so at this point, to even feel comfortable with yourself, you have to spend money or destroy this new identity and go back to the old you. But of course, to stop you from reverting, Dan Koh uses the sales page as his final piece of copy to take you over that line and make that purchase. He starts with your dreams, then exposes your fears, allows you to self-identify as the kind of person that wants to buy his courses, and engages with you in that tribalism mentality. At this point in time, you now want to be part of the cult. You want to be part of a tribe because you have become so different to everyone else around you that you no longer feel validated and you no longer feel comfortable in your existing friendship groups. He then reiterates his unique mechanism for taking you to your dream outcome, and that is being part of the creator economy. Then, as with any good sales page, he value stacks, listing the bonuses and everything that's included if you pay him now. And finally, reiterates the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and positions his course as the bridge to that gap. Finally, you are sold and you will make your purchase through his stand store. So that is a top level overview of how Dan Koh educates every single person that enters the top of his funnel to the point of compelled purchase. If you're someone who runs a coaching business and needs an educated funnel built out for you, then please do check out my links in the description and get in touch with me. For everyone else, I really hope that you learned something, and I'd very much appreciate it if you subscribed, liked, and shared. As a very small creator on this platform, all of the support is very, very much appreciated. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.